no match to him, but still this is a service, so please help me also and bless me so that we can discuss something which can be fruitful. And if you have any critical question which I cannot answer, Sivash Pandit Prabhu will be joining at some point of time today in the class, so he can help us to answer those questions. Okay, so don't be disappointed. There will be still beacon of light or some ray of light at the end of the tunnel. So we'll start with the Mangalachan prayer, standard Mangalachan prayer, which are there in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada wanted all of us to actually memorize these verses and be familiar with them so that we get the blessings of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His associates. So let us do it together. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuran Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manabhishthang Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayang Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sa Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathannitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitang Savadhutang Parijana Sahitang Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhannitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishobhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukhaṁ karoti vācālaṁ pangam langayate girim Yat kipāttamaham vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramanandamadhavam Shri Chaitanya Vishwaram. So let's read a Gita Mahatya verse. So it says, I think that's the 6th verse. Sarva Upanishadi Gavo Dugdha Gopala Nandanam Partha Bhakta Sudhi Partha Vatsha Sudhir Bhakta Dugdha Gopala Nandanam. So that verse says, if you extract essence of all the Upanishads are that abstruse knowledge about the Vedas, the commentaries on the Vedas, the essence is called Gita Upanishad. Gita is also an Upanishad. It's a philosophical book, right? There is no story. Is there any story in Bhagavad Gita? No, there is a story in the plot, but not. It's not actually a story, right? It's a philosophical discussion. So it's also considered as an Upanishad, which gives comment about the Vedas, the eternal knowledge. That is called Upanishad. Sarva Upanishadi Gavo. So Bhagavad Gita is just like the essence of all Upanishad, and it is represented by Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is called as a cow, and Dugdha Gopala Nandanam. So the cowherd boy who is extracting milk from that is Gopala Nandanam, who is known as Gopal Krishna. Nandana means like Nandan Krishna, or the cowherd boy of Braja. Partho Vatsa Sudhir Bhakta. So when the cow is milked, not in US, because here everything is ultra modern, sophisticated, but in India when you milk cows, the calf is in front of the cow because it feels like the motherly affection, and it licks the calf and then it gives milk spontaneously with love, and that milk nourishes our intelligence actually. So similarly, Arjuna is like a calf. He is standing and Lord Krishna is giving that knowledge to him, and through him everyone is getting. And then it says, Parthavatsa Sudhir Bhakta Dugdha Gopalanandanam. So that milk, which is the essence of the cow, or which is coming from cow, that is giving pleasure or giving nourishment to all the Sudhi means like intelligent people. No, not like somebody who doesn't care about what is there after life or what is to achieve in this life. It's not for them. But those who are looking for the truth about self, they are getting that nourishment through Bhagavad Gita. So today we will start chapter 3, which is a very interesting chapter. Every chapter is interesting, but I think a lot of questions are being asked here by Arjuna, or maybe a few questions only. So, should we keep also Sanskrit or only English is okay? I don't know. I think English is okay, right? Most of us are familiar with the English transliteration, right? So today we'll discuss about it. Before going to this chapter, so previous chapter, when Arjuna surrendered to Krishna, Krishna started speaking about Sankhya philosophy, the philosophy about soul, who we are actually. And then he also talked a little bit about Sakam Karma, that, oh Arjuna, there is no loss or diminution if you like take part in this warfare. You will always be victorious. You can enjoy your kingdom. And if you die, you will go to the heavenly planet. So what is the loss? And then he talks about Nishkam Karma also. He said like, no, that is not the goal of life also. Because the Veda is teaching us to enjoy through different sacrifices, different activities. But that is not very high consciousness. You should go beyond the modes of material nature, because Vedas mainly dealings are with the three modes of material nature. So Traigunna Vishaya Veda, Naistraigunna Bhavarjuna. So you go beyond that. And then he said, Karmanya Badhikaraste na ma phaleshu kadachana. You can perform your activities, but don't expect results from it. Or it's better not to expect results. And then he talks about action in Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga, the intelligent person's activities. I know that the Sthiti Pragya, how does he act? How he actually restrains his senses, how he is very stoic in all kinds of, catastrophic situation or adverse situations, and how he replaces his senses in higher engagement. He doesn't actually deal with the material sense enjoyment, rather he deals with higher enjoyment. So he is not attracted by the material enjoyment. Vishayavini Vartanti Niraharasya Dehina. Those verses are spoken, and then he talks about the cycle of fall down. Like, how you start thinking about something and then your mind goes to it, you get attracted, your intelligence gets destroyed. Dhayati Vishaya Pungshan Ityadi verse was very spoken. And then he says like, oh, those people who are not disturbed by that, they are just like, the rivers, the rivulets of rivers are coming to the ocean. And the ocean is not getting disturbed because ocean is so deep. Similarly, the people, lot of ingredients of sense enjoyments are coming to their mind or coming around, but they don't get disturbed by it. So it's very high level, consciousness they have. Now, after speaking that, because that means you are withdrawing your senses from the sense object. Now Arjuna got bewildered. Arjuna is looking for an excuse to not to fight. And then he asks this question, which is the beginning of this chapter and known as Karma Yoga. So we'll start this chapter. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Atha Tritiya Adhyaya. Karma Yoga. So I think it's call and response, right? I saw that Prabhu is doing always Hare Krishna. Call and response. Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Cheta Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Ghore Mam Niyojayasi Keshava. Can read Prabhu translation.
Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Keshava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work?
Vyamishreneva Vakyena Buddhi Mohaya Mohaya Shiva me Tadekam Vada Nischitya Yena Shreyaham Apnuyam.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be the most beneficial for me.
Yeah, again, Arjuna is making an excuse not to fight because he kept a lot of excuses in the first chapter and then he continued in the second chapter, beginning of the second chapter also. The thing is that if you consider about Arjuna's position as a devotee, the devotees are non-violent and they're Shurida Sarvadehinam, right? So he knows that this warfare will cause miseries to many people. It will cause many people to die, many, especially Kshatriya clan. So he wanted to actually exclude himself from this warfare. However, Krishna he gave example in the previous chapter also, and now he will also give more example that whatever you are doing, it's good for you because that's your nature and you cannot just artificially renounce your work. And that's, the next verses Krishna will speak about that. I will actually read it. Yeah. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokasmin dividha nishtha Pura prokta maya nagha Jnana yogena sankhyanam Karma yogena yoginam. Please read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical philosophical speculation, and others by devotional service.
Thank you. So devotional service and Buddhi Yoga are considered synonymous, because in later chapter also we see that in the 10th chapter, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam Priti Purvakam Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayantite. So that verse also talks about Buddhi Yoga and it is synonymous to Bhaja, Tesham Satata Yuktanam Bhajatam. So that means devotional service. Okay, so Krishna is saying that, I actually explained those two things, Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga before. Now let's talk about Karma Yoga. Na karmanam anarambhan naiskarmyam purushasnute na cha sanyasanad eva siddhim samadhi gacchati.
Nor by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very, powerful point Krishna is mentioning here, that somebody can think like, I don't want to work, but that doesn't relieve him from the reactions of his previous works, right? You have different types of work, reactions of different types of work, like aprarabdha, prarabdha, kutam bijam phalanmukham, kromenaiva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmana. In Padma Purana it is spoken that there are different types of reactions. Something is like prarabdha karma, you get it from your previous actions, and then aprarabdha, like you have done something but it has not manifested, the reaction has not manifested yet. And kutam is like you have an intensity to do sinful activities or any activities which may cause in some results. You may have to suffer or enjoy, whatever. So bijam phalam mukham, there are 5 types. All things get destroyed by the process of devotional service. But this person who is just merely trying to do some sense renunciation from the sense object, he doesn't get freedom from the reaction. He has to suffer. And there are many examples of that. Like we see, not necessarily all the time it's from the reaction, but it's lack of actually action towards Krishna. Just like when we see the in Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastimes of Shobhari Muni, right? Shobhari Muni is there, and he was meditating in the water for 60,000 years. It's quite a long time. 60,000 years, that was possible in Satyuga. Anyway, so, and yogis, they can meditate for a long time. They can control their birth, so their longevity is enormous with context to us, with respect to us. So, this person was meditating for a long time, but when he saw a family of fish, actually there is no plural fishes, fish, he got attracted to family life. And he got married to 50 daughters of King Mandahata. He just got married because he had yogic power, so he became so handsome that all of the Maharaja, King Mandahata's daughters got attracted to him. Yeah, it is mentioned in 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So that happens even if you are renouncing your works. The yogi means like who is doing sadhana under submerged in the water. He is in a very high level, apparently, in consciousness, that he doesn't bother with the external situation. But his senses are not engaged in the higher cause. That's why it got disturbed. So even apparent abstination from sense object cannot ensure you that you will be getting freedom from reaction. And something also can inadvertently you can also commit mistake, because I think the for Shobhari Muni's case, he chastised Garuda to eat fish or eat snake, I think, yeah. So that was a Vaishnava Aparad. That was considered as a Vaishnava Aparad. He didn't even notice it that he's committing a Vaishnava Aparad. Anyway, so that thing is not recommended by Krishna. We'll later we'll discuss a little more. Nahi kaschit shanamapi jatu tishtvatya karma kret karyate hi avasa karma sarva prakriti jair gunai.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
Thank you. Oh, can you give me a Bhagavad Gita book? Yeah, Bhagavad Gita. So, this is an interesting fact, right? There are religious principles where people practice that I want to make everything zero. But that's not practical. Why? Because our mind cannot be unoccupied. Something or other will come in our mind through the senses, through our intelligence, through our impression from our past karma. Things will come in our mind. We cannot make it zero. So that's why Krishna is telling we are sometimes helpless because the modes of material nature are so strong, they will force us to think about something or do something, even though we may not want it. Just like Arjuna, he can go to forest, but in the forest, he will also be inclined to do Kshatriya dharma because that's his nature, his inherent quality. He will not be like a mendicant, right? In the Mahabharata, we see that Vanavasa also, the four Pandavas, they are hunting. They are fighting there also in Vanavasa, right? In the forest dwelling period, 12 years, they are fighting there also. So that is their nature. And you cannot go beyond, against your nature. You have to actually act based on your nature. So that's Krishna is talking here. After some time, we'll take some question answer. Not the Brahmastra ones. Karmenendriyani samyamya ya aste manasasmaran indriyarthan vimudatma mithyachara sa uchvate. Yes, please go ahead, Mataji.
One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
Yeah. So, one time, His Holiness Gaur Gobind Sai Maharaj, in one of his lectures, he was mentioning Vaishnavata means Charalata, simplicity. A Vaishnava should be simple. What is simplicity? Simplicity means he expresses what he feels. It's not like honesty, it's beyond honesty. Charalata means just like a child. A child doesn't think politically. It doesn't have a duplicitous mind. It doesn't think like, okay, I should speak in that manner to him, in that manner to other. When we grow up, we know that we cannot speak this to this person, or maybe he will judge me if I speak, my true intent, something like that. But the child will be very honest. I'll give an example. I went to one national park, and there was an option to do kayaking. So my daughter was at that time 5.5, and the kayaking required the kid to be minimum age to be 6 years. So when they asked me, I told them she's 6 years. Then they did not believe, because she looks actually less than 5, even though she was 5.5 at that time. So the person who was in charge, he asked my daughter that, how old are you? She immediately said, I'm 5.5. I felt bad that I was trying to hide it. But this is the child's simplicity. This is their heart is very open. So a Vaishnava's heart should be open. Even if they have something not like very high standard, but they should be able to share it to the other devotees that, oh, this is my problem. If I am not simple, I will hide it. I will pretend that I am a very good person, which I am doing also here. But the point is, Krishna is recommending that, be simple, be, genuine, what you feel, what you do, and ask for help. But don't be a pretender that, I am renouncing everything, but in my mind I am dwelling on this, all the in the sense objects and the sense gratification. That is not recommended, and that is actually a door to fall down. Rather better accept that I am not in a higher position. Then the mercy will flow downwards. Okay, the next verse, text 7. Yastu indriyani manasa niyamyarabhate arjuna karmendriyai karmayogam asakta sa vishishvate.
On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior.
Yes. So the mind is actually considered the king of senses. Mind, if you in the later chapter, Krishna speaks in the Dhyana Yoga that Bandhur Atma Manastasya Yenatma Iba Atma Manojita Anatma Manasatu Satrutve Bhartitatma Iva Satrubat. Means like the person whose mind is a friend, who can control his mind. For him, his mind is a friend. And who cannot control his mind is an enemy. So if mind is controlled, then the senses can be controlled easily. And in the later part of the chapter, we'll see that the gradation of senses, gross senses, then the mind and the intelligence and the soul. That will be spoken in this chapter. So mind is very strong. So if mind can be controlled, then the senses can be controlled. But if I am not controlling my mind, but artificially I am telling that, I am controlling my senses, that is actually cheating. But the person who thinks like, I need to do some actions, I need to do some sense gratifications, within the purview of the religious principles, that person is better, because he accepts that he needs some kind of enjoyment or some kind of actions which can beget some result. But by process of that action, like which is following the principles of the religion, he will be purified in course of time. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayehi akarmanaha sharira yatra pichate na prasidhyad akarmanaha. Next. Yes. It's not working, Mataji, I guess. The green light is not on, right? Yes.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Please read again, sorry.
Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work.
Thank you. Yeah, so Krishna is telling that prescribed duty means like the Supreme Personality of Godhead has given some action based on our nature. So that is called prescribed duty, also alternatively known as Varnashrama Dharma. So he's telling it is better to work based on your nature, because you have to do some work to sustain your physical body. You have come to this material world with a body which needs sustenance. So you cannot maintain it without doing work. So, but do the work based on your nature. Yeah, the next verse is important verse. I think it is one of the memorization verses also, right? I guess so, yeah. Yagyarthat karmananyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara.
Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu.
Oh, he didn't read. Sorry, Babuji. Yeah.
Okay. Work done as a sacrifice for Vishnu has to be performed. Otherwise, work causes bondage in this material world. Therefore, O son of Kunti, perform your prescribed duties for his satisfaction. And in that way, you will always remain free from bondage.
Yeah, so that is an interesting thing. So Karma Yoga means actually doing action in such a way that you can realize the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna. Here Krishna is telling that, do work in such a way that you can realize me. You can satisfy Krishna. Sacrifice means you do something for someone, right? Sacrifice means without any intention to get something in return. Sacrifice means like that, right? That is the literal meaning of sacrifice, that you do something without expecting any return. So, you do something for Vishnu without expecting any return. However, there are two aspects of it. One is like sakama karma, that even if you don't expect return, but if you have some desire, Krishna will fulfill it. If you do, as action for Krishna. We see in the case of Dhruva Maharaj, he wanted to get a kingdom greater than his great-grandfather. And he got it. Even though after getting Krishna, he did not want it. But he said like, oh, no, you get it. Whatever you wanted, you will get it. Otherwise, people will say that, oh, by worshipping Krishna, I got nothing. So Krishna can give everything. But it will not give you bondage. Because after enjoying for 36,000 years of his kingdom, the whole universe, where did Dhruva Maharaj went? Where did he go? He went to the Dhruva planet, a spiritual planet. He did not come back in a material body after that. Right? So, this is a speciality of performing actions in Krishna consciousness. And sacrifice doesn't mean like only fire sacrifice. That's one of them, Agnihatra Yagya. Sacrifice means, and in the later chapter, in the 4th chapter, Krishna speaks about, sacrifice in different genre, like, sacrifice for the brahmachari, from a banprastha, from grihastha, for everything. So, even renouncing senses or engaging senses in Krishna consciousness, that is also sacrifice. Or doing sadhyaya, what we are doing right now, that's also a sacrifice. You are using your intelligence and mind in Krishna's service. So he is telling, do it in a way that it is meant for Krishna, not for yourself, not for other people, then you will not be entangled by the bondage. Because even if you do something good, that will be also a bondage. How can that be a bondage? If you do something good, how can that be a bondage? It is in, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, so like by doing some good, like you would be getting punya as something credited to your account. And in order to like just clear off that balance, you need to stay in this world.
Excellent. Yeah, maybe higher planetary system. You have to enjoy.
Yeah.
You get more entangled. You will feel like, oh, this is so good. I don't want to get out of it, right?
Exactly.
So that's why the gradual liberation is not recommended. Because sometimes the higher planetary system has so many luxuries, so many facilities, we can get entangled easily. Even in this material world also, right? When you come to California, wow, this is so nice weather. Everything is so good. I don't want to move from Bay Area, right? Yeah, that happens to us. So what to speak about heavenly planets? They are actually more comfortable, right? Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, so I have a basic question about... So Krishna himself is mentioning that we have to sacrifice for Vishnu.
Yes.
I think I have read Gita earlier before. I didn't quite understand the whole thing. So it's good I'm reading it again now. But since I've read the other Bhagavatam, I know Vishnu is different than Krishna. Vishnu, we have 3 types of Vishnus. So what Vishnu is he referring to here?
Any type of Vishnu, that's fine.
Or is it Krishna himself?
Yeah, so Vishnu Tattvas are also all Krishna's direct expansion or expansion of the expansion. It's called Swangsha Tattva. So anything which is an Ishvara category, that can be worshipped. Like Narayana, like there are different types of Vishnu Tattva also, like 24 primary Vishnu Tattvas who are reigning in different Vaikuntha lokas, right? We Keshava, Madhava, Narayana, Govinda, Vishnu, Narsimha, Achyuta, Janardana, ityadi. So they are all Vishnu Tattva, and you can worship any of those forms. They are all 400 forms. Here Vishnu, actually the word is not Vishnu here in the verse. If you go here, the yagya is actually dissected as a word done for the sake of Vishnu. You see that? Yagya arthat. So yagya, Lord is known as also Yagyapati. Yagyabhuk means like he only takes sacrificial offerings. He is the owner, or he is the master of yagya, master of sacrifice. So the bhakti yogis, they will interpret, or the original meaning of yagya is actually the sacrifice done for the pleasure of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is Vishnu in general, because Lord Krishna, like when we are chanting the Agama Nigama prayers, the Vedic hymns, they are mainly chanting about Lord Narayan, Lord Vishnu. They don't necessarily Krishna. Even Krishna they chant, they think about Vishnu actually. Krishna in the mood of Lord Vishnu, in a Ishwar Tattva, Aishwarya, mood of opulence. So that's why the Vishnu term is used here. It can be also Krishna, that's fine. All of our sacrifices are meant for Krishna or Gauranga, everything is fine. But yeah, they are all Sangshu Tattva. If you replace Vishnu with Govinda or Keshava, they are all truth. Same thing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll get to more question and answer, but let's read a little bit. Sa yagya praja srishtva puro vacha prajapatihi anena prasavishwadhvam esha bhashtu ishto kamadhok. Please go ahead. Oh yeah. That is Hare Krishna. Please go ahead. It doesn't work? It should green, yeah. It turned green, yeah.
In the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, "Be thou happy by this yajna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you everything you desire, upon you everything desirable for living happily and achieving liberation.
Thank you. So, in Bhagavatam, actually, very elaborately, it was spoken that how the creation is expanded, and how the goal of the creation is to gradually elevate the consciousness of the living entities. That is the goal. So, those who are especially those who are in human body, their consciousness is very high. They can understand things which in a normal, like other animal or a tree body, they won't understand. Even they have soul, they have consciousness, but it's not very elevated consciousness. In Bhagavatam, the verse actually speaks, Mukhu bahu uru padubhya purusha shastramai saha chattara yogire varna guno vipradaya prithak. Like from the Mukha means like the face of the Lord, Brahmanas were created. From his Bahu, the Kshatriya clan were created, and then from his Uru, the Vaishyas are created, and from his legs, Sudras are created. However, all these Varna and Ashrama, especially the Varnas, and of course Ashrama also, they are meant to serve the Supreme Lord. If they are not serving, Gunai Vipradaya Prithak means like based on their qualities they are created. Ya Esha Sakshat Bhagavad Atma Ishvaraha Na Bhajanti Avajananti Sthanat Bhashta Pratantadha. If they don't actually worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, definitely they will fall down from their respective situation. Like if you are in a Brahmana, you will fall down to a maybe abominable caste, or maybe you will take a animal body in the next life, and then your gradual fall down will continue for some time, and then Lord will help after some time, because there is a cycle of birth, old age, death, and disease. Yeah. Anyway, so Krishna created it for the purpose of yagya, sacrifice means offering to him, like to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreya param abapsyatha.
The demigods, being pleased by sacrifices, will also please you, and thus, by cooperation between men and demigods, prosperity will reign for all.
So, if you consider the Vedic knowledge, 70% of the Vedic knowledge is about karma kanda, right? The process by which you do something and you get something in return, right? And then 20% are based on knowledge aspect, the jnana. Jnana means how can you actually understand the nature of this material world? How can you understand your true self, like about the soul, and how can you go beyond this bodily consciousness? And then 10% are bhakti, like you do something not expecting something in return. It's just out of spontaneity. Like when we serve our kids when they are in infancy, we don't expect that they will take care of us in future, right? They may not. We don't have that demand. But when they grow up, the demand increases. That's a different thing. But the point is, that is spontaneous love. So similarly, when we do spontaneous service, that is called bhakti. So 10% is about bhakti. So so when the demigods pleased, they give something in return to us. Okay, next verse. These are interesting verses actually. Yeah. Bhagavad Gita disappoint anyone. It gives solution to everyone. If somebody is interested to do karma kanda, Krishna is also giving, there is a way to actually do karma kanda. Do in this way. Yeah, you will get benefits. Ishtan bhogan hivo deva dasyante yagya bhavitaha Taridatyan apradayabhyo yo bhunkte eva saha.
In charge of the various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gifts without offering them to the demigods in return is certainly a thief.
Yeah, so the explanation is actually that even though the sacrifices are meant for Krishna, but sometimes it goes through a via medium, not directly, because Krishna has appointed different persons in charge of different activities, like those who seek knowledge, right? Especially material knowledge. They worship Mother Saraswati, right? And every house they have Lakshmi, right? Mother Lakshmi. Right? When I moved to Bay Area with my first job in US, actually not like I had an university job also, yeah. But but that is a research job. But the point is, I started living with a devotee. So he brought 3 deities. One picture of Radha Gopinath, that Chowpatty temple, whole like Guru Parampara, Radha Gopinath. I think whole Guru Parampara, Radha Gopinath, Srinathji, maybe Srinathji was not there. It's mainly Radha Gopinath and Guru Parampara, yeah, because I think they are predominant. And Ganesha and Lakshmi Devi. so this is our culture, because we know that Ganesha, he kind of removes all the obstacles. Lakshmi Devi, she bestows opulences, right? She is the embodiment of opulences. But yeah, sometimes where there is Krishna, Lakshmi will be automatically present there. Last verse of Bhagavad Gita, Yatra Shri Vijaya Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna Yatra Partha Dhanirdhara Tatra Shri Vijayi Bhutir Dhruva Niti Matir Mama. Yeah, Tatra Shri Vijaya Bhuti. Yeah, anyways. So the point I wanted to mention that, so sometimes we do a sacrifice, but actually they are not necessary also. We'll see, in the later part, that in the beginning it's okay because we have some intention. But Srila Prabhupada mentions that sometimes we do actions in a mood as a ritual, like, oh, I have to do it because I was trained to do that. But not in a mood that I want to elevate my consciousness. So any kind of sacrifice, even though it is meant for a demigod, but the ultimate goal should be elevate your consciousness. That, oh, I have to understand why I am here. The mood is like, oh, I am doing some austerity, not only as a mere ritual, rather than, please someone, so that they bless me and I can elevate my consciousness a little bit, because these demigods are very powerful as well. Srila Prabhupada mentions these in the purport. I think the phrase is very interesting phrase. Let me actually see the phrase. This is a different version. Even I don't know whether it is, yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I can't find it now. Yeah, anyways, but oh yeah. But if by performing yajnas one doesn't become Krishna conscious, such principles are counted as only moral codes, ethical codes. So one should not therefore limit his progress only to the point of moral codes, but should transcend them to attain Krishna consciousness. So that is the ultimate goal. Like, you do this sacrifice for the purification. And another thing is like, if you actually worship Krishna, then ultimately you don't have to do yagya or anything for the demigods. That is already contained in that bucket, like yatha tarur mulo nishechanena tripyanti tadaskanda bhujo upasakhav prana apaharascha yatha indriyani tataiva sarva arhanam achyutaja. Like if you worship Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is also known as Achyuta or infallible, then all demigods are satisfied. Just like if you put water at the root of a tree, all the twigs, branches, leaves, they all get nourished, right? Yeah. Text 13. Yagya Shishta Santo Muchyante Sarvakil Vishai Bhunjante Tva Agham Papa Epachantyatma Karanat.
The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin.
Thank you. So here, interesting point. When we were not only food, anything we actually try to enjoy, it's first offered to Krishna. Tayopa bhukto sragandha. The verse you read every day. Basa alankara charchita uchishta. Yeah, can you read give me the meaning of the verse also? It's a beautiful verse. No, without looking at that. Tayopa bhukto, what is your remnant? Shrag means this garlands. Gandha, the perfume which is used by Krishna or essence. Not essence. Essence is gandha, right? Yeah. Fragrance, yeah. Shagandha basa, clothes. Alankara, all the jewelries. Charchita, which is used to decorate him. Uchishta, as a remnant, I take it. Tayopabhukti means enjoyed by you. Yeah. Uchishta bhojinam dasas. I am as a servant, I enjoy that remnants. Tabo mayam jayamahi. By that I can conquer your illusory energy. That is a verse spoken by whom? Uddhava. Yeah, Uddhava. It's a very important verse. Okay, so Krishna is telling that, just give me, then all sin will go. Because that is the process of, prasad. Prasad means Krishna's mercy. We may have a lot of food, right? But we have only a quota to eat. Even if you have millions of dollars, can you eat one what is that? One truckload of fruits? No, you can't. Maybe one apple. Maybe in lifetime we cannot eat one truckload of fruits, right? Or maybe if somebody is fruitian. Anyway, so it has to be sanctioned by Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so when we acknowledge by offering it to him, just like Mother Ganges is worshipped by offering water to Ganges. Similarly, you offer whatever we eat, whatever we enjoy to Krishna, and that's how it get sanctified, it get purified. And now the next verse is interesting verse, is the cycle of ecosystem, how this whole nature is being sustained. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhavaha. No, it's not working, it's just. Just knock it, Prabhu. Yes, now it's working.
All living bodies subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, sacrifice, and yajna is born of prescribed duties.
Thank you. So you just cut one thing from here, the next thing will not actually come about. Right? Food grains is sustaining us. Food grains are produced from rains. Rains are produced by yajna. And a yajna is done by whom? The humankind, right? This is their prescribed duties. So this is so what people did actually? People cut the prescribed duties. Yajna. So what happened? Now, the rain is abnormal. Many places there are famine. There are extreme, drought. So food grains are not enough to sustain the humankind. And some things are also artificial because of the distribution. But the in general principle is, if yajna is there, then there will be rain, there will be a natural balance in the system. So I think Vaisheshika Maharaj in his class many times he mentioned that we are getting these natural opulences, that sunlight, rain, nice wind, because somewhere somebody is actually performing sacrifice. Sacrifice doesn't mean like you just do ahuti, as I mentioned in the beginning. It can be like he is actually chanting the name of the Lord. The Sankirtan Yagya is the best Yagya in Kali Yuga. So as long as that is happening in this yuga, so long we will get this reciprocation from the nature, from the Mother Earth. But when it will be completely stopped, you will see that things will go worse. 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam speaks about it, like how the end of Kali Yuga will be. So it's very ghastly. Yeah. Okay. Karma brahmadya brahmad bhavam. Okay, sorry. Karma brahmad bhavam vidhi. Brahmakshara samudbhavam. Tasmat sarvagatam brahma. Nityam yagye pratishtitam. You want to read? Peter, you want to read? No? Okay. No, it's okay.
Regulated activities are prescribed in the Vedas, and Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Consequently, the all-pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of sacrifice.
Yeah, so it's not like, whimsically somebody came up with this idea like, oh, you have to do this, we have to chant this mantra for this sacrifice. It is all given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in Shruti, in Vedas. And through that process, he is ensuring that the ecosystem, the balance in the ecosystem, that remains in place, right? That is very important. Text 16, Evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayati yaha aghayur indriya rama mogham partha sajivati.
My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain.
Thank you. Yeah, so it is recommended, just in the beginning we said, like, in all situation we should do sacrifice based on the principles of the Vedas, of the Shastra, to elevate our consciousness. If we do not do that, we just cater the requirement of the senses, then this human life is completely in vain. It will go in vain. Yastva atmaratir eva syad atmatriptasva manavaha Atmani eva cha santushtas tasya karyam na vidyate.
But for one who takes pleasure in the self, whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, fully satiated, for him there is no duty.
Thank you. So we'll read actually this verse and the next verse, and then we'll discuss a little bit about this. Naiva tasya kritenartha na kriteneha kaschana na chasya sarva bhuteshu kaschid arthya vyapashrayaha. You want to read, Prabhu? No. Okay, go ahead. Adinath Keshav Prabhu says.
A self-realized man has no purpose to fulfill in the discharge of his prescribed duties, nor has he any reason not to perform such work, nor has he any need to depend on any other living being.
Okay. Okay, actually, let's read the next one also. Tasmad asaktaha satatam karyam karma samachara asakta hi acharan karma param apnati purushaha.
Therefore, without being attached to the fruits of activities, one should act as a matter of duty, for by working without attachment, one attains the Supreme.
Thank you. So it's an interesting fact. After talking so much about karma kanda or karma yoga, like you do prescribed duties, you follow the nature and do actions based on your nature, preserve yourself, do things which subsist not only you, the whole society. Then Krishna is saying that for some people, it is actually they can omit these actions, or whatever I instructed. It is not applicable for some of the categories of people, where he says that those whose human life is one of self-realization, who takes pleasure in the self, and whose human life is one of self-realization, and who is satisfied in the self only, means Atmarama, fully satiated, for him there is no duty. And there are many examples in Srimad Bhagavatam about them. One is Jarabharta, right? The example of Jarabharta. He was born in a Brahminical family. And as a Brahmin, what he has to do? He has to know the process of worship, sacrifice, different type of activities, Paurahitya, do priestship for others, do worship for others. But he was reluctant to know it because he didn't want to get entangled. He was a self-realized man. When his father wanted to teach him, he said, no, I am a dumb person, I cannot learn it. He was doing opposite. If he says take bath in the morning, he was not taking bath in the morning. He said okay, you have to do fire sacrifice in this way, you will do in a different way. So his father thought, he's a dumb, he cannot learn anything. And when his father died, his brothers started exploiting him. They are giving him all burnt grains, and also making him work like a donkey, like a ass, very laborious works. But he did not complain. He was completely detached. He was completely inward. So that's a very higher consciousness, Jarabharata's consciousness. So he was kind of an Atmarama. For this kind of people, Krishna said for them, karma yoga is not needed actually. They are beyond that. And Krishna in Bhagavatam actually, in the Uddhava Gita, he explicitly mentions what are the category of that people. He explicitly says who is not, for whom it is not meant. He said, Tavat karmani kurvita na nirvedyata yavata mat katha shravana avido shraddha yavanna jayate. He says, as long as you don't develop trust, or complete faith in the process of devotional service, starting from Shravana. Shravana means any devotional links, but starting from Shravana, hearing process, and then Kirtanam, Smaranam, Bandhanam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Bandhanam, Daisyam, Saikhyam, Atmanivedanam. All the 9 processes come. But starting from Shravana. So you have to bring complete faith. When that complete faith comes, then you are not obligated to activities of the society or activities based on your nature. But till that point, you should do activities and satiate your desire. What is that? Please take it to me after class. Okay. Hare Krishna. So the point is, you don't do it immaturely. Some people can say, I want to take sannyas. I want to take vanaprastha. I don't have any material affiliation. I don't feel any test. But their sense can talk in a different manner at some point of time. So the main thing is like how much you are able to replace that test with the higher test. The higher test, the book. So if you think like, oh, nothing is actually appealing to you, no sense objects, then you can think, oh, you are natural. And for that, you don't have to be in a specific ashram. It can be in any ashram, Jedino grihete bhajono dekhi, grihete goloko bhai. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur, in his Shuddha Bhakta Charana Renu song, he sang this thing, that the day when I see the devotional service being conducted in my house, I feel like my house has transformed into Goloka Vrindavan. So that is our goal, heart. So immaturely we should not do it. As long as we have some desire, we have some career goal, some material affinity, we should satisfy it. But we should also think like, okay, these are all ephemeral. And sometimes Krishna takes charge of us. If we are very surrendered, Krishna takes charge, and he can give something, which is not so easy to digest. He gives like calamities like that, but he also gives us the capacity to endure it. So we should think like, okay, sometimes those can happen, but the point is, we should not artificially renounce as well. So that's Krishna is telling here. For self-realize, Devarshi Bhutatma Ninam Pitrinam Nayam Kinkara Namrinicha Rajana Sarva Atmanaya Sharanang Sharanya Gata Mukunda Pariharta Kartam. Let me actually, I think Sarva Atmanaya Sharanam Sharanyam Gata Mukunda Pariharta Kartam. There is something spoke wrong. Oh, what is that? It's 40, right? Oh, yes. Yeah, no, actually, I spoke right. Sarvatmana yo sharanam saranyam gato mukunda pariharta kartam. So it says like, we have obligation, we have duties to people, right? Deva, demigods, rishi, saintly people. Bhuta, all the living entities. Apta means your kins. Devarshi Bhutatma Nidam, all the human beings. Pitrinam, forefathers, those who already left. Nayam Kinkara Namirnicha Rajana. O Rajan, actually this verse was spoken by Narad Muni to Vasudev. Vasudev means Krishna's father, Vasudev. He said like, oh, you are not servant to them. You don't have to do any duty to them. When? Sarvatmana yo sharanang sharana. When your mind is completely engaged or sheltered unto the person whom Gata Mukunda Parihita Kartam. The Gata Mukunda means like it goes towards Lord Mukunda, who gives liberation from all bondage, liberation from all affinity of the material world, or all duty. That is also a liberation. Parihita Kartam. The person whose mind is completely sheltered at the lotus feet of Mukunda, he doesn't have to do all these activities. So that's a very high level. Don't actually transgress your level. We have to understand what is our adhikar. We don't actually follow the Paramahansa. Lord Krishna did not do it. You will speak now. You will speak that there are Paramahansas. They are also not transgressing the law of nature. What do you speak about us? Text is 19. Actually, no. Let's actually take some question answer, because I think we have 1 more hour, right? So if somebody has any question, yes. Satyasar Prabhu, right? Satyasar Prabhu. Satyasar Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for giving a very thorough overview of these verses. One thing I think you mentioned in verse 10 is that how the purpose of yoga is to evolve consciousness. And then I think you quoted a verse from Bhagavatam where you mentioned that if we don't do worship of Krishna, we tend to fall down.
Yes.
But then later in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that whoever also worships demigods, like indirectly they're worshipping him. It's in the right same path. So if it's in the same path, then how can consciousness be degraded?
Yeah, so one thing is like when we have a mood of worshipping demigods to get something from them, we entangled by the result of it. However, when we worship Krishna, Krishna gives us, we don't get entangled. That's an interesting thing. That's why it is said in Bhagavatam that akama sarva kamava moksha kamodaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajate purusham param. Like those who have no kam, no desire, Sarva Kam, who have all kind of desire. And Bhagavatam has example for everything. If somebody has sensual desire, he is satisfied. Somebody has, kingdom desire, Dhruva Maharaj, Kardama Muni, everything is satisfied. But they all got Krishna at the end. But for the demigod worship, the problem is people are satisfied with what they have and they don't go the next level, which is like, okay, he gave me, but still I'm not satisfied. So what is there to satisfy me? So they don't give. But if they say, oh Lord Shiva, oh Lord Mother Durga, oh Lord Ganesha, please help me to understand what is good for me, then they will act as a guru. The Chaitya Guru also help, the demigod will also help. But it is still not direct. They will direct you to a spiritual master or a path by which you can come to the platform of pure consciousness, Bhakti Yoga. Yeah. So that is the indirect process.
Thank you, Prabhu. Can you just state that verse? What was the verse that you...
Okay, yeah, that is also 11th canto verse. It actually comes in, I think, 31, 32 something. Yeah, Mukha Uru Padebhya, Mukhu Uru Bahu Padebhya, Purushasya Sramai Saha, Chattara Yogire Varna, Gunuri Vipradaya Prithak. These 4 varnas are created based on the qualities from the mouth, from the arms, from the Uru, thighs, and from the legs of the Lord. Ya Esha Shakshat Atma Prabhavamishwara Ya Bhajanti Avajananti Sthanat Bhashta Patantya Adha. However, these people, if they are just doing it for as a mere ritualistic duty, that I am a Brahmana, I have to do ritual, sanskar, that doesn't work. It has to be, the mood should be like, I am doing it for the satisfaction of Krishna. Yajna means for the satisfaction of Krishna. I am sacrificing my intelligence, my actions for the satisfaction of Krishna. Then his consciousness will be elevated. Athapumbi dijav srishta varnashrama vibhagashaha sva anishthitasya dharmasya samsiddhir haritoshanam. Same verse. It's just, the wordings are different, but haritoshana is the perfection, right? Okay. Yes, Mataji. Mataji, I forgot your name. Sweta Mataji, please go ahead.
Prabhu, I have a question on text 18.
Yes.
You also mentioned, you quoted an example from Jada Bharata.
Yes.
Where he was working without complaining, without, just keep on working, right? And he's considered a self-realized soul. In Kali Yuga now, in the present age, I know many people who do that, who achieve that tolerance and who are undeterred. No matter what to throw at them, they don't react. They are they somehow seem very calm and they know how to navigate through the obstacles. And I've seen them, they are not really, they are atheists. They don't believe in God and they're not religious, they're not spiritual. How do they achieve that?
Yeah, so some things actually come from your previous birth, your impressions. Like, Shariram yadavapnati yatapya utkramati swaraha grihita vaitani sangyati vayurgandha nivashaya. Just like wind takes aroma from one place to another, similarly the impression from our previous birth, they come with us. Second thing, definitely they have some pious karmas, in previous, which fructified in mood of goodness. Pious karma actually, it elevates your consciousness towards mood of goodness. And mood of goodness means you are undisturbed, you are happy, you are blissful. You don't seek actually acknowledgement. Mood of passion always seeks acknowledgement. Oh, yeah, is he noticing? Did he say Hare Krishna to me? Did you pay obeisances to me? No. So that is actually kind of mood of always, anxious about something. But these people are peaceful, they don't bother. They know, I don't care actually what he thinks. I'm happy. I'm, self-satisfied. So the mood of goodness is not enough. So Bhakti Yoga teaches that you should not stop in mood of goodness. Mood of goodness gives you the idea of Brahman, that you are eternal. You have something beyond this, material body. And you have a relationship beyond this bodily level. But that is not enough. You have to go one level higher, which is that what is my ultimate goal or ultimate bliss? Which will, come when you are in the platform of devotional service. mood of goodness will give you that satisfaction, undeterred, mood, like you are not disturbed by anything. But it will not give you that the bliss which you get by executing devotional service towards the Lord. Like when you do service, you feel good. Why people do voluntary service? They get nothing in return, right? But they feel satisfaction. They feel like a purpose of life. So when that is connected with Krishna, you can understand like how much that will give you, the bliss. Yeah. Thank you. Any question from online or any other in-house question? If not, then we can proceed because it's 43 verses. We have to finish it. Okay, so I think I have done till when? Yeah, 19, yes, correct. Thank you.
20, Prabhuji.
Text 20. Thank you, Prabhuji. Karmanaiva hi samsiddhem asthita janakadayaha loko sangrahamevapi sampasyan kartum arhasi.
Kings such as Yanaka attain perfection solely by performance of prescribed duties. Therefore, just for the sake of educating people in general, you should perform your work.
Thank you. So here an example is given. Arjuna may think like, oh, it is impractical. Maybe it is in theory, or maybe it was not done before by anyone. But Krishna is telling, no. People like Janaka, they got perfection by doing actions based on their nature, based on the prescribed duties of mankind. In fact, it is also a responsibility of a king to establish Varnashrama Dharma. Right? Is it? He cannot expect everyone to be Paramahansa. Right? If everyone is Paramahansa, then the society will be blissful in a different manner, but the sustenance will be different, right? Society needs all type of people. It needs engineer, doctor, professor, admin people. It needs mercantile people, and also agrarian community. So it needs everything. But for everyone, there should be a path of elevation of consciousness, elevation towards the supreme goal, which is to achieve pure love of Godhead. So that is implemented by a king. And then king, he himself performs in that way. Even though he may be a Paramahansa in heart. Just like, in Bhagavatam we see Yudhishthir Maharaj, Parikshit Maharaj, Dhruva Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prithu Maharaj. They were all Paramahansas. But still they did so many sacrifices. Parikshit Maharaj doing 99 Ashwamedha sacrifices have been performed by Prithu Maharaj. Did he need it? No. But he still did it to show that, this is my duty and I am performing it, and you follow your duty. And you gradually become elevated to the platform of bhakti or highest consciousness. Okay? Yad acharati sreshthas tat evetara janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Yes, Mataji, please read.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standards he set by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Thank you, Mataji. So this is a common trait, right? Bir bhogga eva sudha. The earth is enjoyed by the celebrities. Bir means, like valorous people. But right now, bir means we are celebrities. Anyways, so people want to follow the celebrities. They have a lot of fan following. I think many celebrities, they promote the products in Instagram and other social media and charge a hefty amount of Lakshmi. Like, one post could have made like 5 temples for our our community. Wish that could have happened. Yeah, maybe one of our devotees become that kind of celebrity. They can promote ISKCON of Silicon Valley. But that is the thing. General people, they follow what the great people in the society or the renowned people of the society or celebrities in sophisticated term, what they do. Okay. Yes. Na me parthasti kartavyam trishu lokeshu kinchana nana baptam abaptavyam varta eva cha karmani.
O son of Partha, there is no work prescribed for me within all the 3 planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor I have a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Thank you, Prabhu. So yeah, Krishna doesn't need anything, right? Everything belongs to him. Second thing is, here Krishna is actually not yet he has revealed his supremacy. From the 7th chapter he is starting to talk about himself. Matya parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjaya. But still he is telling, oh Partha, who needs to do work because they want to get some return or they need something. They have some obligation, but I don't have an obligation also. He's not even a king, even though officially he's not a king, but he is the king of Dwaraka also. He's the king of the universe. But still, Krishna is engaged in prescribed duties. That's an amazing statement. Supreme Lord is showing by example that, this is how you should lead your life. There is a chapter in Srimad Bhagavatam where Lord Krishna's, daily activities. What he does. At 4 a.m. he wakes up, Brahma Muhurta, he takes his shower, and then he does his chanting, japa, then he does his sacrifice, and then he takes care of his family. And Narad Muni, when he was actually traversing in Dwaraka, he saw Krishna is just like a household person. So Krishna is, and Lord has, also an aspect of Leela aspect where he does some activities which are inexplainable. So we should not follow that. It is said that don't follow what Krishna does, follow what Krishna says. In Bengali there is a proverb like, don't follow what Krishna does. Because you cannot get married to 16,000 princess in one shot. 16,000, you cannot dance with 6 million gopis in one night, right? Krishna can do it. All kind of these things. But follow what Krishna is saying, what Krishna is recommending you to do. So here, this is called anusarana. You move along the path, imprinted by the previous acharyas. Yad yad acharati sreshtas tatya devatarajana. So Krishna is telling that I am actually paving the way by doing it myself, even though I don't have any obligation, I don't have to do. That's a heavy statement. Yeah. Text 23. Yadahi aham navarteyam yadihi aham navarteyam jato karmanya tandritaha mama vartu manu vartante manisya partha sarvasaha. Mataji, is not turned. It should be green. It should turn to green, not yellow.
For if I ever fail to engage in carefully performing prescribed duties, O Partha, certainly all men would follow my path. Yeah.
First of all, Krishna is a great hero. He is honored by many people. Even they don't consider him, if somebody doesn't consider Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, still they will consider him as a great hero and they will follow his path. which can be detrimental for the society at large, right? Yeah. Yeah, we have Shankaranand Prabhu and Hari Sankirtan Prabhu, senior most devotees, asking for their blessings. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Text 24. Utsidhyayur ime loka na kuryam karma chet aham sankarasya cha kartasyam upahanyam imah prajaha.
If I did not perform prescribed duties, all these worlds would be put to ruination. I would be the cause of I would be the cause of creating unwanted population, and I would thereby destroy the peace of all living beings.
Yeah, again Varna Shankara, that word is used, Shankarasya. So Krishna is very anxious. He is very concerned about sustaining the Varnashrama system. Because this, he knows that by this the whole world will sustain in a balanced manner. Otherwise, the society will degrade very fast. Arjuna was also concerned. Any sane person, any progressive minded person, Aryan mentality, Aryan means actually progressive minded person, they will understand that the society cannot sustain without the process of Varnashrama system, without the sustenance of the Varnashrama system. Text 25. Saktaha karmani avidyangsha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidyams tatha saktas chikirshur loko sangraham.
As the ignorant perform their duties with attachment to results, the learned may similarly act, but without attachment, for the sake of leading people on the right path.
Yes, so here actually the ignorant people, those who don't have like higher knowledge, they are attached to sakam karma, that is told. And those who have knowledge, they are doing niskam karma, when they don't bother about the result of their actions. So interestingly, if you see the progression of yoga, like yoga ladder, so the consciousness comes, it's called the animal consciousness, right? Actually, before animal consciousness, there is actually tree consciousness. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he speaks in Jaiva Dharma, there are 5 types of consciousness. Achhadito, Mukolito, Bikochito, Bikoshito, Purno Bikoshito. So Achhadito means like covered consciousness, which is seen in the trees. The tree has a consciousness, but it doesn't actually work on that consciousness, right? It's kind of ignorant completely. But it is proved by one Bengali scientist, Acharya J.C. Bose, Jagadish Chandra Bose, that they have also lives. But we know by literature, like anyways, that there are many hundred thousands of varieties of trees. We know by Shastra, right? What is Navalakshani, right? Something, yeah. Anyway, so we know that by Shastra, but they proved it. So they have consciousness, but they cannot act based on their consciousness. Mostly they are just like growing up. Even they cannot show their mood, like whether they are hungry, their senses are inert. The next level is animal consciousness, which is called Mukulitos. They have mostly the consciousness of mood of ignorance. They're driven by ignorance, and ignorance means like you are actually driven by your senses completely. Like when they feel hungry, they eat. When they feel like sensual enjoyment, they do that. When they are fearful, they react. Then when they are sleepy, they sleep. They don't actually go beyond that animalistic propensities, which we also have. Then the next level is Bikochito, means like you have some level of understanding that, this is good for me, this is bad for me, but you are mostly dealing with the bad part. You have understanding, but you are dealing mostly with the bad part. Means like you may have some understanding of, higher taste, like, oh, this tastes good, this tastes bad. But you are still looking for taste, oh, I want to explore this, that. Maybe you have inclination to enjoy in a sophisticated manner, but still it's an enjoyment, right? We are sleeping in a $5,000 mattress. Somebody is sleeping on the street. Both are sleeping, right? Maybe one enjoyment is sophisticated than others. Then the next level is bikoshito, means like somebody is asking the question, what is the reason of my existence? Where the devotional service starts. Athata Brahma Jigyasa. And then when that person advances and where he knows about the truth and his relationship with that supreme truth, the supreme personality of Godhead Krishna, then his intelligence becomes fully blossomed, Purno Vikoshita. That is the highest level. So here also, Krishna is telling that some people, they do activities, they're attached to the results, sakama karma, some are nishkama karmi. And from nishkama karma comes detachment. When you enjoy, you become attached, you want to enjoy more. But sometimes, there is another aspect also, like the Veda will make you enjoy in such a way that you will not want to enjoy. Yeah, you understand that part? How? That is also a verse from Bhagavatam. It says, let me actually quote that. It's an interesting verse. It's a very interesting verse. Yeah. Loke vyavayam Amisha Madhya Seva Nittahi Jantar Nahi Tatra Chodana Vyavasthiti Sthishu Vivaha Yagyir Sura Grohoi Rashu Nibrittarishta. So the verse says, it is the natural human propensity to what? Sense enjoyment, eating meats, taking intoxication, gambling. It's a natural propensity. It's not like, oh, we are all Paramahansa. We are not. We have natural propensity to do that. Right? However, Veda said, okay, you do it, but do it in such a way that you don't feel enjoyment after doing it. So that's why what Veda said, like, oh, do it as a sacrifice. So when you do sacrifice, you kill the animal in sacrifice, you have to do like 36 hours of fasting. Then you feel like, oh, it's too much hassle for me. I don't want to do that. And you have to get married for sense enjoyment. You feel like, oh, I have to maintain a family. Or I feel less enjoyment now because I have to actually maintain that family. Similarly, for the intoxication also, there is a Soma Yagya, right? Sura. You offer it to the demigods and then you take it. So there are a lot of austerities involved. So these austerities purify your senses and you become disinterested. And you go to the point of Nishkama Yoga, Nishkama Karma, where you don't want to enjoy any fruits of your activities. And from there, you get knowledge. Oh, this is not good for me. I think I am not satisfied with these things. And you go to the platform of Jnana Yoga. And in the platform of Jnana Yoga, you know about the absolute truth. And you go to the Dhyana Yoga. Or you do some activities for satisfaction of Krishna. The best is to engage your mind. Externally, maybe you are doing something, but your mind is thinking about Krishna, and that is ultimately converted to Bhakti Yoga. And that is kind of a yoga ladder. And Krishna is actually so beautifully explained, Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga. These are actually Jnana Yoga platform. And then he comes to Karma Yoga because Arjuna asks this question. And then he goes again Jnana Yoga. Then Karma Sannyas Yoga, which is the beginning of Bhakti Yoga. Then little Dhyana Yoga. Then he goes to Shuddha Bhakti in the 9th chapter. Okay, text 26. I think we have to complete in half an hour. Na buddhi vedam janayed Ajnanam karma sanginam Joshayet sarva karmani Vidyan yukta samacharan. Who was supposed to read? Yes.
So as not to disrupt the minds of ignorant men attached to the fruitive results of prescribed duties, a learned person should not induce them to stop work. Rather, by working in the spirit of devotion, he should engage them in all sorts of activities for the gradual development of Krishna consciousness.
Yes, you see how Krishna is recommending? Don't jump from your adhikar. Be gradual. Interesting thing is, Krishna repeats this in the 12th chapter also. Same thing. He says like, okay, you cannot actually do everything for me, then do Nishkam Karma. If you cannot do Nishkam Karma, do Sakam Karma. Okay, you cannot do even Sakam Karma. Do Karma so that I get satisfied, or I forgot the last part. Yeah, anyways. So he also repeats actually again and again that you engage your mind, your senses, mat karma krit mat parama, or what is that? Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yuddhacha. But still he keeps it open. He doesn't make it impractical for the most people. Yeah. Oh, that's a very important verse. I think that is a memorization verse, right? So Krishna is telling that how people are bound to do activities based on the modes of material nature. Text 27. Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvasaha ahankara vimudatma kartaham iti manyate.
The spirit soul, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature.
Yeah. So in Bhagavatam also it is said, Aham mameti, like I am the source of everything, right? What is the verse? Pungsha istriyo mithuni bhavametam tayo mitho tayor mitho hridaya granthim ahu ato grihashatta shutapta vittir janasya mohoyam aham mameti. Like people are inclined to the opposite sex and want to enjoy this material world. They feel like, okay, I am entangled or knotted by the mental like heart-to-heart connection, and that's why he thinks like this griha, this home, this is my place of activities, my relatives, they are mine and I am theirs, and he only entangled by this. So this is same thing. Actually things are carried out by the moods of material nature. What moods of material nature is doing? It's facilitating your desire. You can come to temple, which is beyond the modes of material nature. You can do devotional activities. You can go to a pub. I shouldn't even mention it. You can do all kind of bikarmas, right? Both are facilitated by material nature, isn't it? But you have to decide. Your consciousness has to decide. Your intelligence has to decide where I should go, right? Text 28. Tattavittu mahabaho guno karma vibhagayaho guna guneshu vartanta iti matvana sajjate.
Sajjate. One who is in knowledge of the absolute truth, O mighty armed, does not engage himself in the senses and sense gratification, knowing well the differences between work in devotion and work for fruitive results.
Yeah, so this is actually talked about bhakta, that he knows actually how I don't get entangled, because fruitive results entangle you to this material world, right? So he's talking about that. Okay, let's actually go to the next verse because we have to complete 15 more verses. Text 29. Pakriter guna samhudha sajante guna karmasu tan akritsna vido mandan kritsna vinna vichalayet.
Bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached, but the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performer's lack of knowledge.
Okay, bewildered by the modes of material nature, the ignorant fully engage themselves in material activities and become attached. Okay, but the wise should not unsettle them, although these duties are inferior due to the performance lack of knowledge. Okay, so like those who doesn't have the understanding, how these things are being carried by the material nature, they get bewildered because they are ignorant about the fact, and they become attached to, this is my goal of life, to maintain my family, to become very successful in my career. It's not that Krishna is not recommending that. Krishna has recommended in the beginning, right? He also recommended Arjuna to become successful as a warrior. But that's not goal. That's not that can be like a byproduct, or I may have some desire, some kind of desire. But the goal is to please Krishna, or be situated. But the wise people, they understand it. So that's why these actions, the prescribed duties of humankind, or whatever things they are doing, it doesn't unsettle them. They don't feel like, where I am. They don't get baffled, because they are completely situated in the knowledge. And Krishna speaks about this in great length in the later chapters of Bhagavad Gita, right? 13 onwards, 14th chapter also he speaks about different modes of material nature. Text 30. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa nirasir nirmamo bhutva yuddhasya vigata jaraha.
Therefore, O Arjuna, surrendering all your works unto me, with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims of proprietorship, and free from lethargy, fight.
Yeah. So, this is Krishna Karmarpan. That you surrender all your works to Krishna, which is very high. Krishna repeats it also in the 11th chapter, 55. Mat karma krit, mat paramo, mad bhakta sangi varjita, nirvairo sarva bhuteshu, sa mam eti pandavaha. By doing action, mat karma krit means like my action actually, means like which satisfies Krishna. Mat paramo, considering me as the absolute truth. Mad bhakta sangha varjita, who doesn't deal with the materialistic people or the people who are non-devotees. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu, he is non-envious, or he doesn't feel enmity to any living entity. Nirvaira means like he doesn't have any vairi, enmity to any living entity. Sa mameti pandava, he definitely gets me. Okay, it's a very important thing, And then Krishna is saying that, don't be lethargic. You just think about me, then it will be devotional service. Because he is talking about the devotional service, the highest. He is saying that, your action will not be a mere duty. It will be a devotional service because it will satisfy me. And he clarifies it later part also, in the 8th chapter. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, Text 31. Ye me matam idam nityam anutishthvanti manavaha Shraddhyavanto nanusuyanta muchyante tepi karmabhi.
Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions.
Thank you, Mataji. So there is no according to my injunctions, follow this teaching faithfully without envy, become free from fruitive actions. They don't have to suffer the results. Even enjoying of the results is also a suffering. Okay. Ye tu etad abhyasuyanto nanu tishtanti me matam sarvajnana bimhudam stan Vidhi nashtan achetasaha.
But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled and ruined in their endeavors for perfection.
Thank you, Babu. So it's important that those who are intelligent person, they follow the instructions of the higher persons, especially the Supreme Personality of Godhead, right? Kalu Sava Jayante Arya Gunagya Sarabhagina Yatra Sankirtana Nana Naibo Sarva Sartha Abhilabhyate. In the Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 5th chapter, I think 34, 33, 34, 33, something like verse. Yeah, 30 something, 32 maybe. It says that Kalir Sava Jayante Arya, those who are progressive in intelligence in Kali Yuga, Gunagya Sarabhagina, they have like higher qualities. Yatra Sankirtana Naiva Sarvasartha Bilabhe. They perform actually the Sankirtana Yajna, the sacrifice which is known, which is performed by chanting the holy name of the Lord, and by that they get all perfection. Sarvasartha Bilabhe. Let me actually take a look at the word Sarabhagina. I think I had to see that word. Sorry, just give me a second. It's a very important verse. Okay. Yeah, it is 36 actually. Sarabhagina. It is Sarabhagina. Okay, Sarabhagina, who are able to pick out the essence. Okay, Sara actually. Sarabhagina. The people who know what is the essence of Kali Yuga. Anyway, so that's Krishna is telling that, teachings of Krishna. Text 33. Shadrisham cheshtate swasyaha Prakriter Jnanavan api Prakritim yanti bhutani Nigraha kim karishvati.
Even a man of knowledge act according to his own nature, for everyone follow the nature he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish?
Thank you, Mataji. So you can see that, in the temple also, right, we are all trying to at least perform devotional service, right, based on our capacity. But is everyone performing same thing, same action? No. Some of you are sitting in the class. Someone is doing worship. Someone is cooking in the temple. Someone is, maybe maintaining the temple administration in the background. So there are different activities in the temple itself, but everything is meant for Krishna's pleasure, right? So he is saying that we have a nature, and based on that nature, we have to act. And then you will be satisfied also. In devotional service also, you won't see all the acharyas doing same thing, right? Haridas Thakur is chanting whole day and night. Jiva Goswami is writing commentaries day and night, right? So they have their own mood of service as well. So that Krishna says like, you have to cater to your mood. If somebody is very inclined to do kirtan, let him do kirtan. That is the fan the spark, right? The mood of fan the spark is not like, you have to transform, like you have to be a lecturer all the time, or you have to be like a pujari all the time. No. What attracts you, and that the Guru's job is to identify the qualities and then flourish that person or encourage that person based on that qualities, not repress it. Repression doesn't accomplish anything. Whatever I get. This is a difficult word. Text 34. Indriyasya indriyasyarthe raga desho vyavasthito Tayrnavasam agachet Tauhi asya paripanthinyu.
There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization.
Thank you. Beautiful reading. So in the first verse of, many of you are familiar with the first verse of Nectar of Instruction, right? What is the first verse, Nectar of Instruction? Mic, okay. Yes, again chant in the mic.
Vacho vegam manasa krodha vegam jivva vegam udara pastha vegam etan vegam so vishaheta dhira sarvam apimam prithvim sasisha.
Thank you. So can you give the translation of this verse also?
So basically, somebody who can control the six urges, urge of speech, urge of manasya, urge of the anger of mind, like basically control anger of mind, jivva vegam, the taste, and basically urges of belly, the genitals. He is able to make disciples all over the world.
Yes, thank you. So these things like, both attachment and aversion, both are bad. Sometimes we can feel like, oh, I don't like it, so I'm disgusted with it. Or you can abhor. Abhor is actually a very strong word, right? It's not only hate, it's more than that, abhor, right? Abhorrence. You can have some abhorrence towards some certain things, certain ethnicity, certain country. Prabhupada said, like, if you have like that kind of consciousness, you may need to get birth in that, ethnicity or that country later on. Because attachment and abhorrence both are bad. Because it will reflect in your consciousness at the time of death. Yeah, what is that? Anyways. So, this the living entity, especially the human beings, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, while giving the purport on this verse, what you spoke just now, he said that we affiliate ourselves with every object in two ways. One, Abhirod Priti, Virod Yukta Krodh. Abhirod Priti means I like it. I feel good about it. I am comfortable with it. And Virod Yukta Krodh means like I don't like it. I become angry. My senses become agitated when I see or experience that object. So this is our experience, a conditioned soul's experience. You are neutral about something is very rare for a conditioned soul. You have a judgment for everything. Even if you are watching a match and even you don't know any of those countries, you will support one country, right? It happens, especially soccer World Cup. There are many countries which you don't watch or you don't know player about, but you feel like, oh, who is weaker? I will support the weak person, weak team. Why? Because you want to get involved. You want to identify with something which gives you some kind of pleasure. It may be negative pleasure. Krodh is also a pleasure. This is secondary rasa. Vivatsa, Krodha, Bhaya. These are spoken in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Anyway, so Krishna is telling that, okay, they regulate attachment and aversion both. It's not only you have to regulate attachment, you have to regulate aversion also, so that you don't feel like extreme abhorrence or extreme disgust with something, because that also is harmful. Oh yeah, this famous verse, it is also repeated in the 18th chapter. Text 35. Shreyan sadharma vigunaha paradharmatsva anushtitat sadharme nidanam shreyaha paradharma bhaya.
It is far better to discharge one's prescribed duties, even though faultily, than another's duties perfectly. Destruction in the course of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties, for to follow another's path is dangerous.
Thank you, Mataji. Yeah, so I just explained, right? Like if somebody is inclined to do something and you say like, oh, do something. As dharma means not like somebody like so-called like religion, because we are all Sanatan Dharma. It's not like we are Hindu Dharma, Christian Dharma. It's not actually talking about that Dharma. It's talking about the natural propensity. Dharma. Dharma means the quality of an object, right? What is the quality of water? It is liquid. It takes any form, right? It keeps you in this pot, it will take this form, and if I pour it in a glass, it will take the form of glass. It has a taste. It also looks like, opaque. So these are the qualities of water when you think about natural water. Similarly, that is the dharma of us, which is to serve the Lord. However, that also, how we will serve, that will be different for person to person. Yeah. So it's not the same. Yeah. It should not be. And we should not actually transgress that thing law. Unless it is like if you don't have a propensity but you are instructed by a spiritual master, especially in devotional endeavor, then if you are not comfortable with it but you have to do it, then what will happen? By the mercy of the spiritual master, you will start feeling good. You'll feel good. Oh, I want to do it. That is a different thing. That is an alchemical process, Divya jnana yatha yadyat kuryat papasya samakshayam takshad dikshiti saprokta deshikasya kavita. Anyway, so that is a special process. But in general, Krishna is talking about in general that you have to act based on your nature. Next, yes, Mataji.
In this translation, what does it mean, even though faultily, than an other's duties perform? Who is another here?
Yeah, so somebody is a Kshatriya and he wants to pretend to be a Brahmana by quality, not by, birth. By quality, he wants to be a Brahmana. And then he can actually make a massacre. He can do actions which can be harmful to the society. That's Krishna is mentioning here. Don't do that. He's telling that don't transgress your natural quality. Like there is an instance like, what is his name? What is Vashishta Muni, another one who is other Rishi, which is other Rishi in Ramayana? Vishamitra. It's like, thank you. Vishamitra. He was, thank you Mataji, she also noticed it. So Vishamitra, he was a Kshatriya in the beginning, right? And he wanted to be a Brahmana because he saw Vashishta's power. Oh my God, he's so powerful, he could actually kill a whole army by his mantra, incantation. And he wanted, but he could not, by austerity he got the Brahminical prowess, but he did not achieve the Brahminical qualities at that point of time. But later he achieved. So he did a lot of things which was not meant for to be done by a Brahmana. He even begot a child through Menaka also because he was doing so much austerity. So Indra was disturbed. Anyway, so these things happen. So it is not recommended that you do. But even something you do based on your nature, but you are not a perfect. You are not the best. You cannot do like you may not be an expert in that. But still, if you do, you will feel satisfaction. Yeah. Yes.
Follow-up to that is, but in ISKCON, in Krishna conscious, we see a lot of people from different backgrounds, and then they're elevated to Brahmin. Even though even people from being born Brahmin are not acting accordingly. So how, so when Krishna says this, we are not supposed to act in, like you should perform your duty and not another's duty. So how is that?
Thank you. Yeah. So that is means like you need a Brahmin in a society, and we have very actually less Brahmin. Brahmin not by birth, because maybe by birth we have many Brahmins, especially those who are born in Indian civilization. But they are not acting as a Brahmin. Like if I am born from a Brahmin, Brahmin family, but I am working a paid job, that's not a Brahmin service. I am not doing anything. Like I am not doing puja, I am not doing sadhva, like a study. And how can I be considered as a Brahmin's activities? It's a different topic. So, like 6 activities are recommended for Brahmin. Dan, Pratigraha, Jajan, Dan, Pratigraha, and what is this? The other one? Pathan. Yeah. He should study himself. He should teach others. He should worship himself, he should worship for others, and he should give charity and he should accept charity. These are the 6 activities a Brahmana should do. But you don't see people, those who are born of Brahminical family, they are doing this. So that's why they are not actually Brahmin. Krishna explicitly says that, this Varnashrama is based on guna and karma. So what ISKCON is doing, ISKCON is trying to elevate people into the consciousness of a Brahmin. So the quality of a Brahmin are also spoken by Lord Krishna, in the 18th chapter, that Shamo Damo Tapo Shaucham Shanti Rajavam Evava Jnana Vijnana Astikyam Brahma Karma Sabhavacham. So these are the 9 qualities spoken, and then Sanat Kumar Sujata also speaks 12 qualities. So ISKCON is facilitating people to acquire these qualities. It's not that we are always in that qualifications when we take Brahmin initiation or given Brahmin initiation, but they see the potential in the person that, he is sincere, he has the quality to achieve that platform. Like when I was given my second initiation, my very senior god brother, my Guru Maharaj's servant, he gave a very nice lecture, a very private lecture. There are only Brahmin initiated and to be initiated people are there. To be initiated only two, me and my wife. Anyways, so he spoke one thing, that this Brahmin initiation is not the end of Brahminism. It's the beginning, because you have to acquire those Brahminical qualities. So when somebody is steady in devotional service, then their spiritual master thinks like, oh, this person is qualified to go to the next stage to acquire these qualities, because it comes with little bit of extra activities when you are doing. So you have to do certain activities which you don't do if you are not a Brahmin initiation in general. So that's the main goal. Yeah. Hare Krishna. And main thing, our next step of ISKCON will be Daiva Varnashram system, where people it is still existing, but it's not like that too rigidly implemented yet. Maybe communities like New Brajadham in Hungary, Sivarama Swami Maharaj, and then in Indonesia, His Holiness Bhakti Swami Maharaj, they are trying to implement some kind of Daiva Varnashram, which is the vision of Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas. But it is still not like full functional, but that is our main goal, that where people will do, not everybody will take Brahminical initiation. Some will be Kshatriya, some will be Vaishya, some will be Shudra, or I think Radheshyam Prabhu says tree, right? Teacher, then tree structure. Tata, teacher, administrator, then traders, and A is something like those who are means like those who are accomplished in doing some activities. I forgot the word he meant. Tata. So that will be the goal ultimately. Okay. Sorry, actually I took so much time to answer your question. Let's go to the next verse. Text 36 is so important part, but we have only how many minutes? 10 minutes maybe. Yeah. Arjuna vacha atho kena prayuktayam papam charati purushaha anichvan api varshneya balad eva niyojitaha.
Arjuna said, O descendant of Vrishni, by what is one impelled to sinful acts, even unwillingly, as if engaged by force?
Yeah, now Krishna is asks this is a very important question, right? That people understand that this is bad, but still they're doing bikarma. Sinful acts means bikarma, which is against the principle of Veda. If you do some activities based on Vedic principle, then it's not become like I gave an example, right? Sura Gruho Irashu Nibritta Rishta. Oh, by the way, these activities are meant to be Nibritta. They are meant in such a way that people don't feel interested to perform them in course of time. Yeah. So now Krishna is answering that question. It's a very important question, verse. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Kama Esha Krodha Esha Rajoguna Samudbhavaha Mahashana Mahapapma Vidyenam Ihavairanam. Oh, Prabhu is chanting. Anyone else to read from the back? Okay, that's fine. Read, Prabhu.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion, and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world."
Okay, text 38. So he's telling that lust, material mode of passion, and wrath. Oh, sorry. This is the like lust means like the enjoyment proposed. Lust doesn't mean only that that opposite gender attraction. It's anything which you want to enjoy through your senses, that is lust. And when you enjoy it, still you are dejected. You don't feel good, because after enjoyment you feel like, oh, why I've eaten so much? Why have gone there. Even I've enjoyed for some time, but so much driving, so much flight time, then you feel wrath, mood of passion. So now the three types of ignorance are discussed. Dhumena briyate vanir yatha darsha malena cha yathola yathol vena brito garvas tatha tene damavritam.
As fire is covered by smoke, as a mirror is covered by dust, or as the embryo is covered by the womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of this lust.
Yes, thank you. So smoke, even if it is smoke, you know that the fire is present there. If you just, like wind it a little bit, give air, the fire will come out. The dust and the mirror, it's very difficult to understand like what is beyond. You don't see any reflection because the quality of a mirror is to give reflection. But the kid inside the embryo, like the embryo inside the mother's womb, it has actually the highest level of ignorance. So there are three levels of ignorance spoken here. One level of ignorance, it doesn't allow you to experience any higher enjoyment event, like the consciousness of a tree. The next level, which is the mirror, it allow you to enjoy something, but it is lower level enjoyment. Actually tree doesn't have any enjoyment. The next level is lower level enjoyment, and then the next level is you can experience higher level enjoyment. If the human body is so conducive that if you give some wind, it will ablaze, it will bring fire, which will destroy the ignorance, and you can see yourself, the true self. Okay, so that is the three level. Okay, you remember it can come in the exam also. Avrityam jnanametena jnanino nityavairina kamarupena kaunteya dushpurena nalena cha.
Thus, the wise, living entity's pure consciousness becomes covered by his eternal enemy in the form of lust, which is never satisfied and which burns like fire.
Yeah. So if there is a fire, can it be satisfied anytime? It will just keep increasing, right? Similarly, lust is just like that. If you give more fuel, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that just like giving fuel to a fire, you think like, oh, I'm extinguishing it. No, you are actually abusing it more. Text 40. Indriyani mano buddhir asyadhisthanamuchyate etar vimuhayati esha jnanam abritya dehinam.
The senses, the mind, and the intelligence are the sitting places of this lust. Through them, lust covers the real knowledge of the living entity and bewilders him.
Yeah, so the higher consciousness actually drives the lust. It can restrain you, or it can actually drive you towards it. Like if your senses are uncontrolled, means like they are not controlled by your intelligence, then they will take here and there, just like a chariot. I wanted to give that example that I think it comes from Srimad Bhagavatam, that example that the senses like these eyes, ears, tongue, nostrils, skin, they are just like 5 horses, and the mind is like reins of those horses, and then intelligence is the charioteer, and the soul is the person who is actually sitting in the chariot, right? So if the horses are going here and there, like they are attracted by the sense objects, then you don't know where your destination will be. In fact, your existence will be completely disturbed. So similarly, so the intelligence, the chariot, you need to actually drive them rather than the horses driving the charioteer, or the thing. Text 41. Tasmat tvam indriyanyado niyamya bharatarshava papmanam prajahihenam jnana vijnananasanam Mataji. Yep.
Therefore, O Arjuna, the best of the Bharatas, in the very beginning curb this great symbol of sin, lust, by regulating the senses, and slay this destroyer of knowledge and self-realization.
Thank you. Yeah. Regulating senses, the verse is quoted. If you regulate the senses, you can master of the humankind. Text 42. Indriyani paranyahur. Indriyebhya param manaha. Manashastu parabuddhir. Yo buddhye paratastu sa.
The working senses are superior to dull matter. Mind is higher than the senses. Intelligence is still higher than the mind. And he, the soul, is even higher than the intelligence.
Degradation, right? Working senses. Mind is actually the lord of the senses, the mano shashta indriya avi pakritastani karshati, then intelligence and then soul. Okay. Text 43. Evam buddhye param buddhva shangstabhyatmanam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam.
Thus, knowing oneself to be transcendental to the material senses, mind, and intelligence, O mighty armed Arjuna, one should steady the mind by deliberate spiritual intelligence, Krishna consciousness, and thus, by spiritual strength, conquer this insatiable enemy known as lust.
Thank you. Yeah, so knowing oneself to be, oneself means here the soul, transcendental to material senses, mind, and intelligence. One should steady the mind, and I recommend you to read actually text 43 purport. It actually gives the conclusion about this chapter. You can study at home. It will give you a better idea about this chapter, okay? Last question, maybe we can take one question before we leave, if there is any question, yeah. A comment or anything. Or you can hold it till Sivashanit Prabhu comes next week. Next time. Okay, thank you. I think there is not much. So thank you everyone for joining today's session. Yes, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna,
Sivashanit
Koladwip
Prabhuji.
Prabhu. This is
Hare Krishna. Jitanath Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam to all the devotees. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for taking time to go through the entire chapter. I am driving to the temple, and then thank you again for taking the class, and much appreciated, Koladwip Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Please forgive my incapability. I ask for your forgiveness because you gave me a service which is very difficult, beyond my capacity. So, yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
No, it was so nice. You illuminated each of the Bhagavad Gita verses with so many supporting verses from Bhagavatam and so many other places, and it was such a delight just to hear you give the class. So thank you so much, Koladwip Prabhu.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Vancha kalpatarabhyasya kripa sindhubhaya